welcome everyone to Loud and Proud Orlando, Monday, August 21st, 8:31 p.m. Thank you so much for being live with us. Uh, Thank you again for your support. Fantastic week for the Lions and the Pride. I'd say one of the biggest wins in club history for the Orlando Pride. Definitely the women that play the World Cup made an immediate impact. You can tell that all the wear and tear and this small break that they had for the World Cup truly helped the team become more cohesive and better as a unit. Same with Orlando City. But one thing I would have to say is that it was not the typical Orlando possession game that it has us accustomed to and used to. It wasn't the typical Orlando City doing 550 passes a game and maybe 2 shots on goal. This game, on the other end, I'll have to say that Orlando City did something that they have never done in a long time, which is the set piece. These are how you can win. Being defensively sound as Orlando is.
Paula, are you listening to this? This
There
is
you
for
go.
you.
This is for Paula. I know that Paula is, she's with her family right now, but definitely, this is how you can win games by playing the set piece. You know, uh, a corner kick, a great header from from Willie Cartagena, and then a penalty. Taken by Facundo Torres very well, and then another goal from a fantastic, I would say, one of the best crosses. I mean, he's gotten so good at crosses. He started kind of shaky, but he's gotten so much better down the road. Rafael Santos with a monster cross, and then found Ivan Angulo, which is one of the shortest. That tells you that Chicago's defense was really subpar. And Orlando got a 3-1 win, being one down, actually, and everybody started typing PAPI space OUT exclamation point. Right? They were about to do it, about to put it on Twitter, but no. Orlando City delivered a win, 3-1 win, and the coolest part of it is, drinking the field goal Kool-Aid, right? We are fourth in the East, guys. Fourth in the East, right? Which we actually, in the beginning of the year, we were like, I'll be content if we're third or fourth. I think I'm good, right? I am great. I feel fantastic. And I think it's happening, guys. So Orlando City is taking advantage of these set pieces, of these situations. They're converting goals. They're defensive. They're staying defensively compact, and we're seeing the results. Now we have a game at home against a really tough team, which is St. Louis. But we are home, and so the 12th man, which is the wall, and everyone is going to be there, definitely supporting the Lions. So, John, how are you, my friend? A little busy week for you, I know.
Good, buddy. Yeah, can't complain. It was a nice, chill Sunday. It was a great Sunday for me. I had a very enjoyable time. It was beautiful. Then I got to watch a Sunday night game, which is rare, but I feel weird this season, right? With all the 7:30 Apple TV games, the Sunday night game was a change of pace. And whenever we play away, I always feel like there's that sort of this season, that nice opportunity for us to possibly get another nice away win. And this was a great example of that. The first half started out a little rocky, I gotta say. I wasn't super enthused by what we saw in the first half, but whatever Oscar said to them at halftime worked, because even though, like you said, they scored that goal right at the beginning of the second half, the way we responded was, it was a 1-2 punch, Luis. That's what it was. It was, you scored? Oh, okay, we score. Oh, we score another one. Okay. By that time, Chicago would just demoralize. And I think, but then for me, the game was over. So I was just sitting there enjoying my nice Sunday evening, watching us get 3 points on the road.
One of the biggest things I take is that there's a player that has improved tremendously in this squad. That it's not because he's Peruvian, I'm saying it. I'm just saying it because I think he's definitely improved. He started a little shaky. People started kind of flaking on him, saying, hey, I don't know if this is the guy that we truly expected to get when we really acquired him, which was Wilder Cartagena. Wilder has stepped up tremendously as not only a goal scorer and a threat in goal scoring, but also
he's out there, Luis, looking like Casemiro, hitting those balls
exactly
from D mid, trying to that one ball was like Ronaldo-esque. He should have should have gone in. He was so unlucky that Richie stole that from him.
You know, and I'm going to say the double pivot is working so well for Orlando. I don't know. What are your thoughts regarding that?
You know, Kalen Carr I was watching the replay, and he described, he says, literally at this moment that you have on screen right now on the Apple TV coverage, he says, that's the battery describing Cartagena and Araujo. And I was like, I wrote it down because I was like, that is actually the perfect description. The whole thing, they're the engine, two very core engine pieces that the rest of the unit runs off. And without them, and that moment in the season when we figured that out and they became the linchpin of the whole system, was the moment it turned around that it's still so vital to what we're doing today, Luis.
Yeah, you know, I totally agree with that, and we need to see more of this. This needs to continue throughout the. You know, we only have 11 games left.
And like you were saying, like Wilder, what a game from him. I feel like he's growing all the time. He's showing, like you were talking about the Wilder that was there 2 or 3 seasons ago that was playing for the Peruvian national team. He's back now, I'd say, in his prime of his season, playing at his prime level. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I wouldn't agree. I agree 100%. And not only that, but I'm going to add to what you say. I mean, I know for a fact that Pedro, Wilder, and Raul Ruidiaz are going to, and Miguel Trauco from San Jose are going to, all 4 of them, be traveling to the qualifiers in September. Now, Wilder has a huge chance to start for Peru after a long time because the coach of Peru is actually the new coach. He's a fan of the MLS. He used to coach Cruz Azul. He's watched the whole League's Cup. You know, he's the one who gave that championship to Cruz Azul after like 100 years of not winning one.
So he respects
he respects the MLS tremendously.
He respects that Pedro is like one of the best keepers in the MLS, and like he sees that that's valuable. Unlike other national team coaches who might look at Pedro and say that's like a negative, this is a positive.
Yeah, this is a positive for him, and I will have to add also Cesar Araujo. I mean, so young and playing at that level, being that anchor in the mid, like those two, I know. Sources have told me they haven't finished business against Inter Miami. You know, and they truly, and I'm gonna say this right now, they all these guys that you see in the picture, they all are hungry to get a piece of the Flamingos on September 24th. Like, and I think the definitely I see this a potential starting lineup for that game. But we need to see, in order for us to win that game, we need to have that Wilder and that's the set it out. If we have any less of that, we're gonna be in big trouble, you know. And especially, and I will say this is where we start kind of talking about things that didn't really convince me as much about this game. I know what were your thoughts regarding Rodrigo Schlegel. I felt he was a little heavy, especially on that disallowed goal by the Greek striker for the Fire. You know, I felt like he could have done a little more, and he was, I mean, Jansen was on point, but he seemed kind of like heavy-footed. I don't know, what were your thoughts regarding the back line?
I think the thing with Schlegel is he has moments where he gets suckered into like a classic play where the striker wants him to come and close down the ball so that he can lay it off to another player. and it seems to happen to him a lot. He gets himself in issues with positioning, and this was another one of those situations. I mean, I think for a backup center back, Luis Rodrigo is a good backup center back. And that's my nice way of saying I don't super love it when he's in the back line. I think it definitely, you notice the difference in how solid we are when it's not Antonio and Janssen and it's Schlegel and one of them. I mean, I can see the difference. I think everyone just feels a little bit safer. And sometimes Rodrigo has a tendency to, like I said, make the wrong decision or maybe just go missing. You know, maybe he's not always 100% focused. I don't know what it is, but there are times where he makes those errors and it often allows a good chance for the opposition. And sometimes we're punished because of that. So this time, luckily, we weren't. And actually, VAR, amazingly, I was like, I had to pinch myself because I was like, what is happening here? Did they just correctly call something?
Right? Is this actually working?
Did VAR actually just work in our favor? Can somebody verify that? But yeah, he was like half a yard offside. It was a bit naive from the Greek striker, really, because it was a great play by Gutierrez to get out there. And he, you know, it was a FIFA pass goal. It was like, I'm through and I'll give you the pass over to, you know, make sure we score. But he didn't hold his run and it was well called. Unlike a later call in this game, which I'm sure you can guess what other call happened in VAR. But I think what it was, Luis, is because they gave us this one. They were like, no, that's your quota for the day. So when we had our penalty shout, they were like, nah, you can't have that. You can't have a disallowed goal and a penalty. That would be too generous. So that's how pro is, right? They got to have some balance. They don't want to be favoring anybody. We don't want to be favoring anybody, Luis.
Of course. But that's with some teams, though. You know what I mean? Right. That's with some teams because all of a sudden I have a feeling, like the Black Eyed Peas song, I have a feeling that MLS right now loves color pink. And it's not because of breast cancer. It's because of a certain club down south, you know, that all of a sudden, you know, when it comes to certain calls for that club, all of a sudden they forget about the VAR. You know, they add like 15 minutes of stoppage time. Yeah, I'm like 15 minutes. Are they gonna give more? Are they gonna put more burgers at the at the press box? Because 15 minutes—that's a lot. And you know, I wanna add and tell you, you know, obviously Dagger Dan started for the Lions, right? What were your thoughts regarding Dagger Dan? I thought he was spot on. You know, I mean, it wasn't like I wouldn't say it was like, man, he's Marcelo. You know what I mean? But he was. I mean, he did his thing. You know, he did his role. I think, and obviously, you know, I mean, that was a great penalty. I mean, what a bad night for that player Navarro. I mean, he had he was one of the worst players in Chicago. Started okay, and then
he pointed out that was a foul on his. He was on a second yellow. Well, that should have been a second yellow, basically.
Yeah, it should have been.
On a yellow, you make a foul that leads to a penalty in the box. That's another yellow. Usually, I don't understand how you can give away a penalty and not get another yellow. I'm confused by that. So I think he should have been sent off here, actually.
Clearly he was. I mean, because people were saying, "Oh no, that was a BS penalty." That right there, my friend.
Dagger stepped and he made sure he comes in with a clumsy foot. It happens all the time. It's just that's part of being a defender. You come in with a rash leg, you throw it like that's exactly what he did. And Dagger changed direction. To be honest, Dagger changed the direction. Wasn't exactly like, you know, he didn't chop him really close. Like it was obvious that Dagger had changed direction. It was just a bad foot. The guy threw in a leg. And, you know, it was in the box. It's the right call. And I think Luis overall, like I was looking on FootMob, and actually Dagger got the best rating out of our back line there. So you got, Rafa Santos on 7.1 and Janssen on 6.8, Schlegel on a 7.1, and Dagger Dan on a 7.2. Like,
I don't understand.
Oh dear.
Who was that?
Sorry. Sonos thinks I'm talking to it. So Dagger Dad is up there as the highest rated. Now,
Paola, Paola, are you there? I'm just kidding.
Bob is, not always the accurate, but just going off that alone, it's things stat wise that he had the best performance in the back line. I think he did play well. I don't think he particularly stood out necessarily, but he just had a solid game. Obviously, the moment there being the highlight for him where he kind of got forward. He wasn't able to get forward as much as we'd have liked from Dagger, but I'm kind of wondering, Luis, if Oscar told him not to, because we know when we play this system, Rafa is allowed to go forward because he's got that killer cross on him, right? So when Kyle Smith plays there, he sits a little bit back more and he kind of waits and he doesn't go as far forward just to kind of help out the back line and the defensive sixes. So maybe that's what, he was asked to do, to be a little bit more defensive.
Yeah.
We don't know what his options were at right back. What we do know is that he's gained enough confidence of Oscar to start there. We've seen him progress over the weeks, getting more and more from, coming on for 20 minutes and then coming on at halftime, and now he's getting the start. So I think in the absence of Mikey, we were wondering what would happen in this position. And neither of us predicted Dagger Dan to come in and kind of maybe take that role, but it could be a case now where arguably I would say there's not much argument at the moment to bring Kyle Smith back in. He's not been in great form, and Dagger's doing as good a job. So I would keep starting Dagger. Mikey's not quite healthy enough yet. So as of right now, in the next foreseeable games, I think Dagger is going to be our right back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't really.
Example of hard work, Luis. The guy has said, "I'll do whatever you need me to do," and Oscar said, "Play right back," and now he's saying, "Okay, well, maybe you're my right back."
Yeah, very resilient player, in my opinion. I think tactically, very tactically savvy. So whatever, I think Oscar, like you said, he told him to do a tactical move, right? So it was just plain tactics. So he's kind of like an improved Kyle Smith in a way, And so he's telling him, do Kyle Smith, Kyle's role. I know that
they're open to the coach's suggestion, though, kind of guys, right? They want to be told, this is what I want to do, and tell me where to be. It's funny. Remember when I met him, Luis, I asked him, what position do you want to play? And he said box to box. And I feel like wing back and box to box, in my opinion, are very similar in the fact that they're all up the field and all back the field. You're doing a lot of work on both sides of the ball in both of those positions. So I'm wondering whether Dagger also really likes playing wing back because he's able to attack, but also has defensive responsibilities.
Yeah, and I'm happy for Dagger Dan. I think he has a personality in him also to definitely do a great job defensively, tactically. Also against Miami, I think he'll be a very pivotal part because of the wingers now that they have DeAndre Yedlin in great form. You have Jordi Alba on the other side. Now, I do have to say, when it comes to Orlando City, and I'm going to read your comments in just a moment, so thank you so much for doing that and leaving your comments. Look, one thing that we truly need to improve is the turnover rate of this team. I mean, in this game, you're talking about Angulo had. He's fantastic with the ball. He scored a goal, but you cannot lose the ball like that against a team that has, any team that is better than Chicago, which I can fairly say there's a bunch of the teams that we're going to be like. The next team that we're facing is definitely 30 times better than Chicago. So we can lose the ball. We can have Mauricio Pereira, Ivan Angulo, and Cesar for a couple of times turn over the ball so stupidly. And I'm just going to say it like that bluntly. I think that, those are the opportunities in which players that have a good pair of feet, that know how to carry and dribble the ball, that have experience, that have played in Europe, have played in huge teams, can carry out a transition play against Orlando and truly score on us just by speed. And so we cannot. Now, Chicago is a team that's really not. You cannot compare him to the top level teams in the MLS. I'm just gonna say it like that. They have Shaqiri that tried, and unfortunately, he's not the player he used to be. And but we got lucky, in my opinion. I don't know what are your thoughts regarding that.
Lego Man, you mean Mr. Brickman Shakira himself? Yeah, I mean he's the kind of DP I don't want.
He likes waffles. I heard.
The problem with guys like Shaqiri, and he, some background, Luis, he used to play for my team Stoke back in England, and so I know a lot about Shaqiri. Well. I know, yeah. And there's an era where Stoke were in the Premier League, and we had a few stars. We had Bojan, who was my favorite, and we had
Bojan Krkic.
Yeah, Bojan Krkic. We had Marko Arnautovic, and we had Xherdan Shaqiri. And Arnautovic and Shaqiri, I didn't like them as people. They were not. There were many reports about the way they acted in the club, and so I kind of got a bad taste about Shaqiri then. And he joined Chicago, and I think he's a guy who played at really good clubs with other better players around him, and that made him look really good, like when he was at Bayern and Liverpool and whatever. But when he played for us at Stoke, like he was playing in, the Premier League, he wasn't exactly lighting it on fire for us, right? He wasn't our best player on our team. And I think that's kind of shows here. Like, he's not able to carry Chicago. Like, he's not the guy who's able to, be the DP that you need to have. He seems like a complacent guy who just kind of came for a paycheck, in my opinion. So that's not the kind of DP we want. And I always love it when we stick it to Xherdan. That moment where Rodri kicked the ball at him, and got him all wound up, and he got mad and pushed Schlegel over. I was like, yeah, look at Shaqiri all wound up. I enjoyed that.
Shaqiri gets paid $8 million.
Yeah, he's the most. Well, before Messi, right?
Before Messi.
Was before Messi came and broke the scale. Before Messi came and tipped the whole thing over, he was the most highest paid, I believe, in MLS this season.
Right? Yeah, it is true.
Which is ludicrous. Like, if you think about ROI for him, your return on investment,
0.
I think he's probably got like
might as well.
Chicago. If you guys want, I don't know, but not much.
Chicago, if you want to burn your money, just give it to LPL. We'll definitely take it.
I posted on Twitter that I'm sure he's looking for any club back in Europe that, he needs to go back to Switzerland and play.
He could
play for young boys and teach the next generation of Swiss superstars.
Of Shakiris.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. Go do something for your nation.
MLS
is not having you, bud, because you're not good enough.
For sure, he can go play in Peru. There's a team called Universitario. He can go play there. They'll take him. GoalTube TV. What I like was seeing Orlando willingness and responsiveness after Chicago's goal. OC responded well and fast. I agree with you, 100%. I want to say hello to my friend Alonso.
That's what I said about the 1-2 punch, because it was like they scored and then we immediately replied and then we scored again.
Yeah, and then
it was a great 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I felt a little terrible because the crowd really responded in that game. They thought they were gonna get a W. Like, bro, it was bad.
The last 10 minutes was like silent in there.
Yeah, it was
killed the atmosphere. I mean, not that there's much atmosphere in a Chicago game anyway, but we killed what little there was.
Yeah. Sitch Taylor says PK. There you go. Sitch Taylor, welcome back, Junior. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Junior in just a second. Joshua Tall, I was glad how we bounced back right away, and it was great that we won 3-1. Angulo had a really good game, and Torres. I really hope we can beat St. Louis. Yeah, me too. It says, let me see, Joshua Tall. It was great. We're 4th and tied for 3rd. That's right. That's what I'm saying. Now, I'm just gonna be a little, I'm gonna go like Kara. Twitter now, it's all like they all forgot about what happened in January and February and March. They all forgot about it now. They're all like, oh, no, I love the club. I love Oscar. Happy birthday, Oscar, right? I just think it's so funny, But great. We're doing fantastic. I think we're gonna take. We have 11 games left, guys, and then obviously you have Inter, and you have people have the audacity to say that they're gonna win every single game. If they win every single game from moment on, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself, man. I don't know. It's crazy, but they're saying Orlando doesn't mean S because we're still on the hunt. We're Leagues Cup champions now. We're gonna win the MLS. I was like, there's no way. Is there any way they can win the MLS this
They
year?
can't even make playoffs, dude. It's pretty much statistically impossible for them to make playoffs. Here's the thing. Yes, they could make playoffs with the amount of points if they won every game, but every team around them would have to like literally all the teams in 8th, 9th, 10th would have to also lose like every game, and Miami win every game for them.
Exactly.
They're on 18 points, and 9th is is Chicago or DC or somebody is on 32 points.
According to Jenny
they have
Chu,
double the amount of points that Miami have.
According to Jenny
Pretty
Chu,
much.
she believes we could win. They could win.
Bro. I was embarrassed that Jenny Chu once reported for us when I saw that about
crazy.
doing Nashville. I mean,
that's unbelievable. You know what? I'm gonna say this.
She also took a picture with him after the game.
Nashville, by the way,
which is not journalism integrity there.
You're not supposed to do that. I'm gonna say this. You're not supposed to. If Luis Pineda will do this at Exploria, because some of the players,
Orlando.
Right, because some of the players recognize me and they want, sometimes they want to talk and stuff. Like even Alonso, sometimes some players get up, want to say hello, right? But we're not supposed to ever take pictures or get anything from them. If we do, they could revoke our credentials right away. And this thing about Messi, when there's a journalist from down south, it's like a pastor guy. I don't know what it is. Like he posts a lot of stuff about Messi and now Miami. He tried to get accredited with Orlando for the September 24th game, and he's had some issues in the past coming to Exploria because he's tried to literally go into the tunnel and literally hug the players after they score and stuff. And you cannot do that. Like if I would ever dare to do that stuff, or Alonso, or Mike Ramajo, or anybody, we will be. They will kick us out of the property. You're not supposed to do that. So, for a respected journalist to definitely take a picture with Messi, which I understand, it's Messi, but you gotta follow the protocol, because if you don't follow it, then that means that it's a free fall for all of us. So we can also I can take pictures with Messi then on September 24th.
I think it's just it's a shame because I expect more for certain people. It's some of the journalistic bias in MLS coverage is just ridiculous. And I think that, we understand that you have history if you're an ex-player or whatever, but at least try to try to keep it even across your coverage. Try to act like you want to be fair to both sides of the argument and not just openly be like, well, this is my old club, so obviously I love them and they should win and their players are the best. And I just think you don't see that. You wouldn't see that in Europe. You wouldn't see that in British coverage.
And I want to give kudos. You
have ex-players, but they're very even.
I want to give kudos to Orlando City Communications. They are doing a fantastic job when it comes to the credentialing process. When it comes to this, and there's things that I know, and I'm going to say it because it needs to be said. There's people calling the club, literally. Hey, I want to cover Messi. Okay, well they apply, and they have no website, they have no Facebook, they have no YouTube, they have no Twitter, they have nothing. They just want to cover Messi. And go to Miami. That's technically what because if you're coming to Orlando, you come to cover Orlando City. you're really not covering Miami. I mean, especially if you're applying for Orlando through Orlando, it means that you're covering Orlando. So, you're not covering Miami. So don't be
No, I mean the
a sneaky,
Miami coverage
right?
should be provided by the Miami team, and
Right.
it should be
So
limited only to
right.
Miami's personal like team coverage. We're not. There's not the Miami newspapers
Right.
should not be coming up
So
here
you
to come
so you're
in.
getting now a bunch of average people calling Orlando, bothering the communications team, pretty much saying, "Hey, I want to cover Messi, and I'm applying. I put my application. When's my application going to be received?" They're like, "Well, are you going to cover Orlando or are you going to cover Messi?" "I'm going to cover Messi." "Okay, well, go apply to the Inter Miami website. Here's the website link." You know what I mean? Because if you apply through Orlando, you have to be for Orlando, right? You're gonna be covering, or you're gonna be an
Yeah,
outlet. You know what I
it's
mean?
it's away games. It's
It's
not.
it's
We're not here
crazy.
inviting Inter Miami press. We invite Orlando press. That's how it works when you're a home team. You have to provide obviously for the away team traveling press, of course, but that's the official team. They work for Inter Miami. They're writing the pieces that go on the Inter Miami website. They're the actual club coverage. This is
That's right.
not, there's no away press conference section, right? There's no away presser section. So they got to be just like with the wall and the jerseys, Luis, the press conferences, the security around the stadium, everything for this Miami game. I'm sure they're on it. Like we are not a clown
Yeah,
club. Jared
and
Dillon and those guys are organizing, and I'm sure they are
yeah,
prepared and
yeah,
doing
they're
everything
definitely
they
prepared,
can. They know that it's going to be.
and yeah,
They also know that everyone's going to be watching, so they want to do it right.
I want to give a shout out to Hannah. She just obviously she left the club to work for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Fantastic human being, Hannah Drostick. She used to work for Orlando City not too long ago. I remember when I first came to cover the club, and I was working with Alonso's Outlet. She definitely was a huge help, like getting to know everybody, and I want to just give her a shout out if she's watching. But thank you for everything, Hannah. But either way, I mean, they have a team that is definitely has to handle all this stuff now, and it's craziness. So it's gonna be very crazy on the 24th. Now, to go back into the game, I will say we're gonna read your comments in just a second. The Bear is back, and it's good to
The
see.
bear is back.
It's good to see the Bear, as a change of pace player, and I think having Urso available off the bench is being positive so far for his first game. I don't know what are your thoughts regarding his performance against Chicago.
Yeah, it's interesting. I thought that it was going to be Wilder or Wilder or Cesar coming off for Junior, but then Oscar threw him on and kind of we went almost to like a 4-4-2 or like a
Yeah.
4-4-1-1 with Junior kind of playing like a left mid role. So, but also he was playing like an 8 as well. So I like the solidity that gave us. Like I like that Oscar closes a game. I don't like when he goes to the 3 center backs because I think it just confuses the who's marking who and the way our back line lines up. So I think if you want to see out a game, the best way to do it is to add more midfielders. So keeping the double pivot in there, adding in Junior made us just have so many more numbers in the midfield where Junior was fresh legs chasing down the ball, leaving Wilder and Cesar to sit a little bit and not have to go chase the ball. And just we had like a block of 2 lines, Luis, for that last like 20 minutes and just frustrated them because they just didn't have enough quality to be able to do anything about that when we decided that we were going to shut the game down, park the bus as it was. And so Junior played a big role. That all happened when Junior came on. So I like that. I think that's what we're going to see from him. I think he's going to be used as a utility sub. I think also we could potentially see him coming on for Mauricio to play as an actual 10 to play, the last 30 minutes as a center attacking mid if Oscar wants him to do that. Maybe throw him on the wing if we want to do him there. I think, like Dagger, now Junior is just like the mid sub, and wherever we need someone to come on at the 60th he'll probably be the first guy up, I imagine. Is that the way you see it, or?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think he's a utility sub for Orlando City. I think tactically he's very savvy. He could play several positions, and that's something added on. Not only that, but he gets along well with everybody, and he has leadership qualities, which is what you need against the teams that are coming up next. You know what I mean? We're playing against NYCFC. We're going to be playing against St. Louis. We're going to play against Columbus. We're going to be playing against Miami. You're talking about these are teams that, have players that have also those qualities, and they're very dynamic, attacking wise. So you need also a player like him that could definitely, when he switch into the attack, it could be very effective. Now we could switch to be in defensive mode. He could also be very tactically, very, very good to park the bus, right, in certain situations. So great. I think it's a great addition. One thing, and again, I'm going to reiterate it. We need to keep taking advantage of the set pieces, and we need to stop the turnovers. I mean, obviously turnovers are going to happen no matter what, but at least they make it not be like 5 to 10 turnovers a game. You know what I mean? If, let's.
Yeah. That first half, Luis, we looked a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we had 2 weeks off and we were a little bit slow. Like it was like we were waking up still, That's why I don't like this mid-season tournament as well, because it messed with our flow.
They gotta get rid of the Leagues Cup. I'm sorry.
Gone in the second year.
It is garbage.
That's that way they can say Messi is the only winner of the Leagues Cup.
I want to say that it's a garbage tournament. MX doesn't benefit about anything. Zero.
Yeah. It's not been great, I gotta say.
Don Garber, they told him, "I will decide where to play." The American team's gonna play in Mexico. So what's the funny joke here? They cannot make bank, the Mexican team. So what's the point? And they're getting clobbered, So they're not getting anything. No one's gonna go see that.
I think the term I would use, Luis, is half-assed. I think the whole thing is half-assed. I think the referees, the fact it's a brand new tournament and you're using these trash CONMEBOL terrible ass referees that are even worse than the MLS Pro referees. You basically just established that you don't care about the tournament, in my opinion. And the fact that the prize money was that much, I think, is also kind of crazy. Like, great, there's a lot of prize money, but why not spend some of that on some better refs? Why not spend some of that on some commentators who aren't so biased towards Messi? Why not spend some of that 40 million on making the tournament a little bit? Why not reorganize it to actually make sense? It annoys me, Luis, that you have a brand new tournament and you could do this whatever you want. You're not tied to the traditions of the way other tournaments are, right? You want to change the Open Cup. That's very complicated because it's got history. This didn't have any history. You could make it whatever you wanted to make it, and they chose they just chose a lot of very bad decisions, and you end up with a tournament that's very disappointing, really, Luis. For all the build-up, it wasn't that exciting, was it?
You could make a CONCACAF Champions League / Copa Libertadores hybrid in Leagues Cup. Invite, the 6th seed of each South American team. That it's not even going to make it to Copa Libertadores or Sudamericana, right? And have them play elimination style Leagues Cup against MLS teams that want to participate. You give that choice, and Mexican teams that want to participate, and then that's it. And then you add, if you want, the people from Costa Rica. You just make it a tournament. Club tournament, kind of like not the Club World Cup, but it's the Club World Cup for clubs that are not winning anything, right? Lower mid-tier teams. That's the only thing I could see it, because honestly, I don't see the point of this League's Cup because the Mexican teams now have no chance at all.
Well, I think the funny thing for me is now they have a taste of what it's like for us trying to play
Right.
Champions League right at the beginning of the season. You know, it's like they're never gonna do that well in this tournament, probably because it's so early in their season. So they're all just, new squads. They're warming up. They're not quite in their flow yet, unless they start the season on a tear. It's the same problem, right? I think there's too many things going on, Luis. You've got MLS interest, you've got Liga MX interest, you've got the CONCACAF interest, you've got the Sudamericana interest. Like, everybody wants something out of this, and they all want different things, and you end up with a tournament that seems like it doesn't really make any sense. A lot of the decisions made for this tournament for me were just, it seemed like they either randomly made a decision or just didn't care. It doesn't seem very well planned out or thought out as a tournament goes. And I said before, remember we said, we were like, hey, it's probably going to be pretty meh. And what was it? Pretty meh.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty bad. And we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna read some comments, and then we're gonna be talking about St. Louis, which is a really tough opponent we have coming up. Joshua Tall, why did AC did not play? Can he play Saturday? This is Josh.
It was a minor injury, I
I
believe.
think he has a knock. I don't know. Hold on, let me double check. He wasn't on the.
Yeah, it wasn't on the injury report.
He wasn't on the injury report.
No. But I think there's people skeptical about, who's leaving or whatever, but the window is closed. I don't think it's anything to do with
No.
that.
So
Kara,
so
Oscar
Oscar
might be something to do with that.
So Oscar did say that AC had some issues during training. So he got a knock, last minute knock, and they already put out the availability report before that. So the club is not going to go and redo the.
I don't think you can.
Right. I mean, they're going to redo the availability report and say, hey, by the way, guys, he's not. He has a knock. Like, they're just going to let it go. So he had a knock in training, and he just didn't fix the availability report. So it is a knock. So let me go ahead and read some more comments here. Thank you so much for your help, for your support. Sitch Taylor, this time the next home game, let's win it. Let's do this. I went to Chicago for the Special Olympics. Okay, thank you, Sitch. Cool. Congratulations, that's great. It says, how do you think we can beat St. Louis? Okay, yeah. So this is let's say, Pineda, you gotta be like the gray magician. Go take a picture with Messi and give him a jersey. Oh yeah. So there's this. Okay, so there's this magician. I'm serious. And I'm going to say, I know the club is watching. So, okay, there's this guy named Plomo, right? El Mago Plomo, the great magician. So he is a magician from Peru. And he is good friends with Wilder and Pedro. And he went to the U.S. Open Cup final. And I'm going to say this, and I know it's the first time. I usually don't throw people under the bus, but I'm going to do it. He was watching Netflix while the game was on, and I was sitting right next to him, right? And he got a credential because he was with Movistar Deportes, which is one of the biggest outlets in Peru, because he has a show there. And he does interviews with the Peruvian national team players. So he was there for their final, right? And he was the one who got into the pitch. I know the club is going to remember that. He got into the pitch. He grabbed he had a backpack on. Alert right there. Backpack going on the pitch. All the players are there. Security is running right behind him. And then he looks at Pedro. Pedro says, stop. And he tells security, he's with me. And security stops. He takes a jersey out of his backpack. Accredited media, by the way. Takes a jersey and takes a picture with Pedro and Wilder. and makes it every single news outlet in Peru. Now, if if me, little Lewis, will do this, I will be tackled, and I will never be allowed back into Explorer Stadium for eternity. Now, with this guy, he probably did it because he says, "When's the next time I'm gonna go to Orlando?"
You
You know what I
don't
mean?
care.
He doesn't care, right? So, yeah, that's why he's mentioning that, because he's a good friend from my other show. So I want to say hello to GoldTube TV. The Sneaky SOB. He says, "Let's go. Urso's back." So St. Louis. So St. Louis, man, they just defeated Austin FC. They killed them. Like,
6-3.
6-3, and I mean 2 goals from Nico Joaquini, man. I mean, we let him go, and we got you got Erjan Kara.
You know what's the weirdest thing? If I told you they scored 6 goals, right? Obviously, then you do a bit of math. What do you think their XG would be? Don't look. Don't cheat.
No, I'm not looking. I don't know.
This is a wild guess. What do you think? You score 6 goals, you'd think, right? You'd have some
Like-
XG.
Like, you know,
At least
at
2 or
at
3.
least 2 or 3. Yeah.
No, they had an XG of 1.70.
Ugh.
I don't understand how you get 6 goals from an XG of 1.70. I mean, they also had 44% of possession. They're just a very well drilled counter-attacking team that plays as a team, emphasis on team. That's their whole vibe. That's, if anybody doesn't know much about St. Louis, that's pretty much their philosophy. They even went about building their squad without really building a lot of big names in there. They didn't really go for big DPs to build it out like everybody else. They spread the wages out. They got I think Berkey is a DP, is their goalkeeper, I'm pretty sure. They basically went for guys who are all in on the team ideal and the idea of hard work, pressing hard work, similar to the Red Bulls, but this is a little bit different. They seem to have gelled very well as a team. And they're going about MLS in a very different way, Luis. And I gotta applaud them. I gotta say, like, it's good for them, right? It was at the beginning of the season and all the preseason podcasts I was listening to and predictions. Everyone was like, "These guys are idiots. They'll never work. They can't do it. Like, you gotta have DPs, etc." And they're proving a lot of people wrong with. And they won a lot of games at the beginning of the season. I think they aren't as prolific as they were, but they are top of the West still. Reminder, the West is not as strong as the East, right? If we're looking at them in terms of the Supporters' Shield, they are second, so they're still behind Cincy. They're only on 44 points, right? We've got 40 points. So they're not that much further ahead than us, but they are a hard team to beat, definitely. And they've got some key players like I can never say his name, like Goachini, that some people might remember very briefly played for us. Lowen seems to be the one pulling the strings, Luis. He got 3 assists last game. Also, they had another striker who got quite a few goals as well, by the name of, I can't say it. Adirian, I don't know.
No.
Can you pronounce that one?
Adeniran. I guess I want to say Adeniran.
Adeniran.
Yeah, he's like Nigerian.
Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, so they don't really have. I guess Gioacchini is kind of a star player for them, but he's not a DP. He's just like their striker who's on a good form, a run of form. But they like Stroud is another guy in midfield who's, potentially one of their better. Parker is Tim Parker, a longtime MLS vet, center back. So they do have some stronger assets, but they're not built like a regular MLS team. I think that's the key here. They're spreading that wages out differently than other teams have.
One thing they St. Louis did different from the MLS teams, including Orlando, is they did not tap into the South American market or the Central American market ever. And you're gonna say, but why? Because they're like, no, we're gonna do it our way. I believe we could play like a European team, and we feel like that's the way that we want to play. We're St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis is really not Orlando. It's not Miami. It's not like Atlanta, right? So we want to go a different way.
It's like
So
if you built your team only using your
no,
Duncan McGuires, your Angulos, your Kyle Smiths, your very hardworking players, the ones that don't ever stop running.
right. So they went with Coach Bradley Carnell. Now you got to understand he's from South Africa, so everybody knows. Bradley Carnell is from South Africa. He's a South African coach. So he was keen onto making this team with not really so many South American players. He says, no, we're going to tap into Europe. So they went to Denmark. They went to Sweden. They went to Germany. They went to South Africa. And they got the cream of the crop. So they got, obviously, Nico Gioacchini from Orlando, a U.S. men's national team. But they got, for example, Edouard Lowen, which he's one of their Cesar Araujo type of guy, or their Cartagena guy, right? He plays the 8. 26 years old, from Germany. He played the Germany under 20s. He has 6 goals he's one of the top scorers for St. Louis, outside of Gioacchini. And he came from Bochum. 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 He was bought in for $3 million. Now, Bochum is a team from Germany that I think plays the 2nd division.
Yeah, Bundesliga team usually.
Bundesliga.
They have been in the Bundesliga at times.
So this coach really went everywhere with his staff to grab these players at a great age. So this
really, what they did, Luis, was a team full of daggers.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right. This is a European-based team for low cost. So just like the same approach as Orlando City, but rather than going to Uruguay and then Brazil or Peru, they're going to Denmark, Sweden, Germany, and they're getting good players that are starters in their former clubs with good stats, low cost, high reward. That's what they're doing. So Lowen is one of them. Then you have also the South African, one of the best players in South Africa, which is the guy Blom. I think is his name, Bolm. I forgot his name. Najabulo Blom, 23 years old, from South Africa. He's a defensive mid, right? He is like their Cesar Araujo for St. Louis. And where does he come from? The Kaizer Chiefs. Top team in South Africa.
Biggest team in South Africa.
It's not the band, but it's the Kaizer Chiefs.
No. You know, there's another team in South Africa called the Orlando Pirates. Little.
That's right. Those are rivals.
If you didn't know, we also have. There's another Orlando team in the world.
They're the Lions. The Lions of South Africa. And then obviously, so a lot of the players are players that have played high level Europe, and they're not from high profile like Italians or French or playing Bundesliga 1. They truly scouted their squad, so together they can build what they're doing right now.
Berkey was actually a very good keeper back in Germany. He was playing for, I want to say,
I think Berkey was in. Yeah,
he was Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, he was Borussia Dortmund keeper. 233 appearances for Borussia Dortmund. So that's like he's I think one of the best keepers in the league. He was in the All-Star game, right? So it's going to be hard to get past him. Obviously, I think what also is that these guys that play in the top leagues at smaller nations in Europe are still playing European soccer. Like they're still playing in things like the Europa League, because they're playing at the top teams in the smaller nations, but they get chances in those European competitions. So it's very experienced, very hardworking team, Luis. And I think
Yeah,
that's the thing. They love a counter attack. And I think that's tactically for us, we could fall into a trap because
I mean, I
they want
think
us to try and be expansive, and they'll soak up that pressure, and then they'll try and hit us on the counter with Goachini.
it's going to be great to face them because we're very similar teams in like how they built their squad with us. It's just in two different markets. You know, us, we're tapping in the South American market. They're tapping into the European market. They believe that the European market is the way to go. So, I mean, it's just cool to kind of see. They also have Kyle Hybert from Canada national team as well. You know, he plays in St. Louis too. He's one of their homegrowns type of thing. They have, Yarrow that is going to be selected for the Ghana national team, center back for St. Louis. He's like their Antonio Carlos. So they've truly picked this team, like you said, John, to be that workers' man team. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be a great competition for us. I want to see what Messi can do against this team at some point. You know what I mean? Don't tell me that he's going to just break everyone's ankles and just score like 3 goals, right? I'll be like really pissed off. You know what I mean? But, it is what it is. Let's read some more comments. It says, Anthony Solis, do you see any big tactic changes Orlando would make to counter St. Louis? What are your thoughts there, John?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's one that Oscar has to be wary of. They are a team that want you to attack them and want you to hold the ball. Like, they're not necessarily interested in possessing the ball. It's like when we played Nashville. Certain teams aren't trying to reclaim the ball. So they will sit deep, allow us to do our thing and attack, try and steal the ball. Once they do steal the ball, they'll attack as a team very quickly up the field. So I think for us, it might be a case that we, that first half in Chicago, we were attacking with both Dagger Dan and with Santos. Like I was mentioning earlier, maybe we need to be a bit careful about not leaving ourselves so exposed, sending all of our players up the field at once. Goachini, I can never say his name right. I say it different every time, Luis. You notice that? Nicholas, what you call him, Nicholas? Nicholas is very fast. And so I think the problem we have is with Janssen and hopefully Antonio's back, they're not the fastest guys, so we can get beat over the top quite easily. We need to be a little bit careful, I think, about having too high a line. I would say maybe we sit a little bit deeper ourselves as well. But the main thing is hard work, and that's what we also do have. We are a team. We do, we press as a team. We have to press them back. They're going to press us, but we got to press them back. I don't think any reason why we can't win this game, Luis. It's just going to be one of those that, it's going to be tight, and the little battles between the players, the right wing versus their left back, or maybe Cesar with a midfield battle, or Duncan against their center backs. Like, those are the kind of places where this game is going to be won for us. Our quality needs to shine through. The hard work is going to be there on both sides, but our quality needs to rise above theirs, and hopefully we can. Also, I think we should try and aim to keep the ball as much as possible. Yes, that plays into what I was talking about, but that's our biggest asset is don't let them have the ball, and therefore they can't be attacking. Keep the ball, and like you said, Luis, don't be giving away those silly chances, right?
The turnovers are
the first
huge.
half against Chicago. St. Louis will punish us. Like, Chicago didn't punish us in that first half. They should have, because we gave away some silly chances. We were sloppy with possession. And if we do that against St. Louis in the first half, Luis, they will capitalize for sure.
Yeah, you gotta understand something. Lowen, great free kick taker. great set piece taker. They've made a lot of goals with Low. And another player that is not in this lineup that you need to definitely watch out is Thomas Ostrak. He comes from Czech Republic. He's actually He's being considered for the Czech Republic, Czech national team, which is a huge deal. And he played in Cologne, in Köln, FC Köln, which is in the second Bundesliga 2. So you're talking about you're looking what market they're tapping in, Bundesliga 2, but they're tapping in the best players of Köln. So Ostrak was the best player of Köln. How many goals does he have right now in the MLS? He has 3 goals, 2 assists. You know what I mean? So they're properly scouting, and tapping the market of Bundesliga 2, Austrian Superliga, Czech Republic, Serbia, like those markets. When it comes to us, we're tapping into South America, Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina. So it's 2 different ways of thinking, but one same concept. Buy at low cost with a higher reward at the end, right?
One thing I would say about them, Luis, is they have a tendency to burn themselves out in games. Yeah. And that's what happened with this. I was watching the highlights back. That's what happened with the Austin game. Because if you go back and look, they like should have killed the game off. They were 3-0 up with 50 minutes played, and then they let Austin get one back, and then they get another, and then Austin get 2 more late in the game. And yeah, they scored 2 more. Like, it was very strange. That's like 4 of these goals are scored within the last 10 minutes or so. But they should never let Austin get that many, right? They kind of burned themselves out, and almost at some point because they don't know, they're like the Energizer Bunny. They only know how to like go and run and be super aggressive all the time. So they don't know how to like kill a game off like we do. So if they get ahead and they keep attacking, and then we're very attacking, I could see us being able to come back into the game. But alternatively, what I'd like to happen is us to score a couple goals and then just shut down. Because if we play very possessive and keep the ball and hold the ball well, like we know we can do with 2 goals up, they're just not going to have enough time to be able to play. Right. Because Oscar's just going to play, we've scored 2, we're going to keep the ball and make your lives very difficult and tire you out chasing around the ball, with their team. But they are susceptible to goals, right? They are not.
Of course, they're not a perfect team.
Compared to us, they're not as defensively solid, in my opinion. I think they score more than we do, but they also concede more too.
They're in the same realm of us when it comes to their center back duo, and they have a great goalkeeper. We have Pedro Gallese. They have a Canadian national team left back and a U.S. former USL. I think he was from. He played USL. I think he played San Antonio FC or something like that. So it's kind of like they're Kyle Smith. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like us in a way defensively. It's just the difference is that we need to be. I think we have the better center back pair, in my opinion, between them two. Obviously, if AC plays, right? So we just gotta, like you said, stay compact and make sure that we are truly taking advantage of the opportunities that we're gonna have when it comes to set pieces. So in a way, try to copy and paste the game that we just had against Chicago, but without the turnovers from the first half. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we have
because a team like St. Louis will definitely punish us.
Yeah, we can't be sloppy those chances. Like we were.
That's right. So let's do the lineup for the game against St. Louis. I want to give a lot of praise and thanks to everybody watching. If you're listening to LPO right now, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to check out our description in our audio form, and all of our social media will be there. Make sure to follow us. So obviously, Pedro Gallese will be starting, right? Now, would you keep the same back 4? I think AC may see some minutes, hopefully.
No, yeah, I think Antonio back in, presuming it was a minor knock, and
Right.
I think
Yeah, that's what it
Dagger
seemed.
did enough, right? We talked
Yeah,
about.
I think Dagger was great.
I think in a
So
home game as well, right? Like he trusted them in an away game. I think in a home game where
he's gonna
Dagger's
be
going to
more
be more
motivated.
aggressive, like
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, um,
You know.
yeah.
And what an improvement by Rafael Santos, man. I mean, I'm talking about like no look passes, no look crosses that he's doing.
Oh,
Like
for
the
the cross, wrote down in my
sounds
notes the cross for
amazing.
Angulo's. Angulo
Yeah.
gets that goal because Santos's cross is so dangerous that it just lands and then it comes off him and then Angulo's in the right place. But it's the cross that makes the goal. And Rafa with that left foot when he gets up, man, and it's so dangerous. It's such a weapon for us now.
Yeah.
And
So I
you love to
mean,
see it.
like, look. I took a screenshot of it. Thank you so much for everybody. Like, look at that. Like, the defender is already with his leg out, and he's throwing it over his leg. And look how much space. So they're all concentrated on him hitting the ball. Everybody's looking to the ball.
Yeah, I
And
think that's Faku. It comes off
it's a
him,
fact.
and
It
then
comes
Rafa's behind him afterwards. You'll
right,
see.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
right. Yeah. So, but
I
the
thought that
position.
too.
Yeah, me too. So, I mean, I just think it was a great cross. All around. This was the disallowed goal that they had. This is Cartagena's
Yeah, we didn't
shot.
talk about that, Luis, but I
Cartagena's
made
shot.
I made it clear. No, I think it was a penalty. I think that they were talking about on the comms about this potential that Richie touched the ball before Faku did, but from all the angles that we were shown, it looked like Faku touched the ball away and then he got taken out. So I think it should have been a penalty.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with you on that.
But
Well,
I wasn't too mad because we were already winning. This wasn't the messy robbery that was in that penalty.
and
I think when it's something like this, I'm like, okay, like I can see why you didn't give it, maybe, but it's still, if you look at the rules, it's like, okay, you took the guy out in the box. It's a penalty.
yeah. Araujo, and Cartagena right here in the middle. Yeah. And then now, will you have Antonio Carlos? Sorry, Mauricio, Mauri.
Yeah, I think Mauricio.
I think Mauricio.
The thing with Mauricio is there's games where he's there and he's making a big difference, and there's games where he just goes missing. So we need him to be key in this one.
Angulo and Faku, right?
Yeah.
And then up front, Dagger, Duncan. Now, Orlando has their DP as a sub. Oh man.
Ojeda, man, it's not been pretty these last few games. I gotta say,
Yeah.
it's been rough watching him. I feel like he's just hitting and hoping some of the times, and he's not connecting his passes. His dribbling is not there. Did you see anything positive from him in the last few matches? Have you seen anything that's? I think he's getting worse, Luis. I hate to say it, but
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just very inconsistent, and I think.
But he's not settled in like we hoped he
No.
would, and I think that's something that.
I think he's demoralized because he's not getting a starting role, but it's not like he's deserved a starting role, right?
That's it. I mean,
And I don't think Oscar is going to give somebody that's not working.
We got two DPs, Luis. Is a credit to our backups, or not even backups, because they're the starters now. A credit to the guys who weren't on that starting 11 list at the beginning of the season, right? Like Kara was going to start, Ojeda was going to start, and Angulo is over time taking Ojeda's spot, and Duncan's taking Kara's spot. And yes, maybe it's because they haven't been performing, but it's also because these guys behind them have been performing so well that they take their spot. So credit to Oscar for developing that sort of competitive environment where someone like Angulo is allowed to knock out a DP from their spot and say, hey, like, he might be higher paid, but I'm playing better, therefore I'm able to get the start.
No,
and you can't argue with it, right? Like it's. Oh, I don't think Ojeda should be anywhere near the starting 11 at the moment. He hasn't justified it, and just because you're a
at the
DP doesn't mean
moment,
you're guaranteed to be on the field.
yeah, I mean, I think after the whole Messi thing, I think the club may reevaluate and see, where we stand with some DPs now. Another DP that's on the bench that I do want to talk about is Ersin Cara, right? And what's up with this whole staying home for personal reasons type of thing?
A lot of people saying he misses his wife, which I understand. I mean, it's hard. She's back in
Right, I totally agree.
in Austria.
In Austria.
I'm assuming. I think it's another one that we thought would really settle down this year after last year's first, and improve and kick on and get more goals and become like the key striker for our team, and it just hasn't happened, Luis. I'm struggling. Ojeda, I could see here next year. I'm struggling to see the point of having Carr here next season. Sad to say, but he's right now, he's our most expensive player. He's our highest paid player. I think he's up there as the highest transfer fee, or he's close to Facu, or one of those is the highest transfer fee.
Yeah, he was like 8 million.
He was like 8 million, and he's on more money than Facu. At the end of the day, with the way that the MLS rosters are built, you have to look at guys in terms of what are they giving you out of the roster. And Cara is not giving us our return for the money that we spent or that we're paying him in wages. So, and in this league, that's just it. And maybe it's time for him to go back to Europe, Luis.
He's fourth on most shots on target, but
I think he could do very well at another MLS team. Really, I think if he was the right MLS team with him doing the right, that's part of it. Is Oscar's system doesn't suit him in a lot of ways, but he's also not changed to fit Oscar's system. So,
but if he misses his wife, I think it'd be better for him to go
that 100%.
Because he's Turkish. I mean, he's
that happens all the time. Yeah,
he's Turkish.
I think
Austrian.
I think, Luis, we should have sold him this summer, in my opinion, and we should have been offering. We should have said to him, "Go offer yourself to Turkey or to Austria or wherever, and find yourself a club," because he was very good in Europe. He is a good striker. He is a good player. He's just not. He's not playing well for us, and he's not our striker. So it's time, I think, to find him a home where he's. Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree with you when it comes to that, and I also want to talk real quick before we finish the lineup. We're talking about Ersin Cara. We talk about some signings and things like that. I think a lot of things are going to change after this whole Messi signing. There's going to be more opportunities for us to get, some, boosting up our squad, as they say, right, a little bit on some of the places that, are needed, right? Especially, not depending so much on Duncan Maguire. I mean, I think us having Duncan has been a blessing, but obviously, right now,
where would we be this season, Luis?
Right.
That's a horrible thought. Don't even ponder on it for more than 30 seconds. But
so I want to say hello to Alonso with his info. He asked Oscar this.
Usted termina contrato en diciembre y en estos momentos es agente libre. ¿Ha tenido conversaciones con el club al respecto de una renovación?
No. Bueno, pues sí, la verdad hasta ahora nos hemos como enfocado solo en el trabajo. Es cierto que ya termino mi contrato con Orlando este fin de año. Pues con el tiempo tan corto, seguramente pues en algún momento ya habrá que mirar a ver cuál va a ser el próximo paso. Pero yo creo que es como la industria, ¿no? Esperar a ver cómo salen las cosas y mirar a ver que las dos partes estén integradas y que miremos a ver cuál va a ser el futuro. Por ahora, pues como enfocado mucho más es en el momento de los muchachos, en que podamos cumplir nuestros objetivos.
So they're asking him, hey, have you You know, you have your contract expires in December. Like, what's going on? What's going on, guy? He says, well, you know, the club has never, we have not talked yet with the club, but, you know, I'm kind of focusing more of like what's coming up ahead. You know, the club hasn't reached out. All I'm going to say is that, you know, obviously Oscar is one of the well-regarded coaches in the MLS. And so as many people may say, you know, and get into the hype train they did in January, February, and March of this year about pumping out, you know, pumping out, you know, and now they're all like, oh, puppy, happy birthday, puppy. I love you so much. A kiss, un besito, besito. Mwah. You know, right? Now they're like that. But before, 2 months ago, they were like, oh, no, we got to get rid of him. It doesn't work. And now we're 4th. I'm going to say again, 4th, cuatro in the league, in the East. 4th. I'm just going to add, right? So they're not renewed him. They haven't talked to him now. I know for a fact that I guarantee right now, August 21st, 9:47 p.m., I guarantee there's going to be clubs interested in him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I posted on Twitter about, you know, when Alonso put this up, I put in the comments that, you know, if I was Toronto, for example,
Exactly.
I would be sniffing around Oscar 100%.
Yeah.
If I was anybody who didn't make playoffs this year and I wanted to change my coach, I would already be talking to Oscar. Correct. If I was their GM, because, you know, we were asking about what's happening with Jim Curtin in Philly. That's already been resolved. And now it's even later in the season. Here we are. Back. The only thing, and there was a lot of talk about Chicago trying to get him. So I think Oscar could be potentially headhunted. The issue that I think it's not an issue. I think just what I think is happening here. They're waiting to see the rest of this season. I think they don't want to commit just yet to next year. I think the Wilfs are happy with everything, but they're waiting to see this last section. Maybe it'll be 3 or 4 games from now when we know exactly where, you know, okay, things are on the up and we're looking really good and we're going to make, you know, maybe 3rd or 4th for sure. And they'll say, okay, let's pull the trigger. If, you know, I don't think this is going to happen, but let's say we lose the next 5 or 6 and we're back down in 8th or 9th. Then on the MLS season, Luis, you could say that that's not really an improvement from where we were last year. Yeah, so I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there is an argument where we don't, you know, we can. This could all go sideways at the last second. I don't think it will. I think we're in a stronger place now than we've been in many years in the season. We're not going into the playoffs and, you know, scraping it at the bottom. We're looking like one of the stronger teams. So that's great. And that's the improvement that Oscar has shown more than any other year. But we have to see it out, right? We have to see this last portion of the season out. That's the only reason I can think why they haven't done it yet. The other thing is that Luis Muzzi's contract is also up. So there's the GM is up. And then that's not even to say all these players that are potentially up as well. So it's like a trickle-down effect, Luis. We need to know what's happening with Luis Muzzi. We need to know what's happening with Oscar. And then we need to know from there what's happening with all the other players. My guess, for what I understand, is the Wilfs are very happy with everything right now.
Yeah,
and I think as long as we're showing progress year on year and Oscar is growing us, I think it's okay. The only downside might be that maybe some of this investment that the Wilfs spent on guys like Ojeda and Kara isn't coming up. But is that pointed at Oscar or is that pointed at Luis, or is that saying like if you're the Wilfs, who are you looking at saying, okay, Kara was a bust?
I'm going to say this, and I know it's going to be very controversial. I guarantee you Oscar Pareja does not watch the Austrian Superliga. He did not pick Ercan Kara.
No.
And I guarantee you Oscar
did not pick.
Right. Oscar would definitely watch maybe Argentina or maybe Colombia, you know, his former team, but I don't even watch the Austrians. I don't think you, John, watch the Austrian Superliga.
Here's the thing. I think those conversations go like Oscar's like, okay, we need a new, right winger, right? Let's say when they were looking for that right winger to replace Nani or whatever, because at the time they were looking at Facu and Ojeda. And so they got Facu because they couldn't get Ojeda. And then they went back. So did Oscar then say, go back and get me the other guy because I liked him as well? Or did he say, find me a left way or find me a cam? And they say, oh, actually, we can sign Ojeda and he'll play the cam, right? So there's a certain amount of how much is Oscar involved in Luis's and Ricardo's decisions on who to bring in. We don't know that. We don't know if this is Oscar's team that he's molded or Luis's team that he's molded. So where does this fall? My suspicions is, like you said, that it's Luis making a lot of these decisions on who bring in based on what Oscar tells him he needs. And therefore, maybe, the Wilfs will be looking at Luis as the one to question whether we're doing well or not. I don't know. But right now, I think everything is good. I'm hoping it's going to be a question of when this contract is renewed, not if it's renewed.
No, I think everything will be decided on the next few games coming up. That's just my opinion, because we have two home games, one in August, one in September, 2 away games against teams that, I'm literally counting out the Cincinnati game, just because Cincinnati and the level of play they've been showing the past few weeks. We're also going to be seeing Cincinnati, I think, in the next few days against Inter Miami for the U.S. Open Cup. I really hope and I really wish from the bottom of my heart, FC Cincinnati, Skyline Chile. Yes, if Cincinnati wins against Inter Miami and they're the first team that beats that team, I will eat live. Yes, you're watching, 10 people. Cincinnati, Chile. I will go to Skyline Chile right here in Tampa. And I'm gonna go ahead.
They have one in Tampa?
Yeah, they have one in Tampa. I'm gonna go and buy a 4-way. I'm gonna eat it live to celebrate that Cincinnati will beat Inter Miami. But that's a different story. But I believe Cincinnati is a great team. Now, I believe that if Oscar goes 3 wins out of 4 games, and we go and beat New York, and I think the breaking point will be we beat Messi. I think if we beat Messi and we win 3 games out of these games coming up, or 4 games out of this coming up, especially the ones at home, I think Oscar renews. That's just my opinion. Because
is there a question of whether Oscar wants to renew? I don't think so, right? I think he's just waiting. I think he's all bought in on his project here. I don't think
he's 100. Yeah,
I think I think everybody's just waiting on the Wilfs, to be honest, Luis.
Yeah, 110%.
I think they're just, some owners are more proactive than others. That's all it is.
And I'm going to say this: a lot of people don't know, the type of person that he is and all that stuff. People like to say, "Oh yeah, I know he's a great guy." You guys don't know. You guys don't been around him. But either way, I'm going to say this: he's a great guy. But not only that, but he's set foot here. He's done so much, especially behind the scenes for the club.
That's what I mean. I feel like Luis and him and Ricardo are so integral to the way the club is running at the moment, and our whole vision and everything we're doing with OCB.
Exactly.
And so I
highly doubt,
unless the Wilfs have got a whole other plan they want to put in place, why tear up this plan that seems to be working? At the beginning of the season, yeah, there was questions, right? Oscar has turned it around. Oscar's shown development this season, I think.
And not only that, they have an eye for youth.
Yeah.
Every youth player they brought into the team has worked.
The only thing I could see them maybe saying, is in reaction to the Messi situation. Maybe they say to Luis, can we find somebody who's a star name? I'm not saying Facu isn't a star name. I'm saying that in other teams gone by, we've always had that one big name
Well,
at the time, right? We've had the
of course.
Kaká and we've had the Nani, right? We, you know, Facu love him, but we don't have that guy at the moment that's, you know, that sort of brand recognition. So maybe they would be interested in going and adding somebody from Europe who still got it and can still really do well for us. Not some has-been. I don't want some 34-year-old. You can't cut it anymore. I want to go out and find someone like a Giovinco did for Toronto, right? Someone who's, now that, you know, Messi is here and MLS is interesting, let's go find ourselves a top level player who's happy to come over from Europe, but still has a lot to offer and is maybe still in their prime.
Yeah, I mean Neymar would have been a great pick in my opinion. I mean, I know that was a complete joke whenever they put that account put that out there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean this season, in this transfer window, they had Edinson Cavani, former Man United player. Now he's in Boca Juniors. He was a free agent. Isco Alarcón, remember Isco from Real Madrid? Isco could have been a number 10. He was free. Also, Neymar that wanted to leave at some point, you know, but obviously it was, I think, a little bit more of a challenge because with Neymar, you had to offer something similar to Messi, right? And I don't think Orlando was going to pull that plug. And also Sergio Ramos, right? You know, as a center back, I believe Sergio Ramos could have been, you know, imagine your center back duo. And with number 2, Sergio Ramos. And then you have like Robin Jensen coming behind you. Remember Sergio Ramos, Robin Jensen. There you go. You see what I'm saying? Kyle Smith played with Sergio Ramos. Imagine, right? So, but Sergio Ramos was on a free. Isco was on a free. Edinson Cavani was on a free. Luis Suarez was on a free. So, Nani was on a free. Right? Urso came back. They trained around the same time. You know, I just want to kind of think maybe, you know, but what I'm trying to say is that it is a possibility that Orlando can sign a couple players. And I know there's going to be a messy law for the MLS coming 2024. And they're going to loosen up on the restrictions. I think it's about to happen, John. And I think Orlando has already.
It better happen or else everyone's going to riot.
Orlando, yeah. I mean, what happened Nashville was so close. They just had a bad luck because their keeper was injured. Well, I mean, right? And they had to have poor boy Panico. I mean, like the guy tried to pull out the Peter Cech, we know, with the hat and stuff. But, I mean, he's definitely no Peter Cech, right, John?
No, definitely not.
Yeah, so, you know, we'll see what happens. But, I mean, I think the next few games for Orlando are going to be huge. St. Louis, tough opponent. Then we got Charlotte, which they should have their top striker back, right? Back from injury. And then we got Cincy and then Columbus at home with Diego Rossi. I don't know if you remember Diego Rossi. Lucas Ilarian went to Saudi Arabia. He signed for Al Fateh. And now they have Diego Rossi, former LAFC player. Right? It's amazing. So, you know, we're going to be playing that at home. So, you know, exciting news. So let's switch gears real quick with some more comments. Do you see Santos crosses have been amazing this season, says Anthony Solis. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if Carrick gets cut, says Anthony Solis. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I mean, hopefully Orlando is able to, you know, we're able to have that, you know, because Duncan is a great striker, but I just feel that we have the team to truly capitalize a big name. You know,
For sure.
I mean, Romelu Lukaku, maybe.
No, thank you.
Why not?
I mean, he would do well in MLS.
He will do
kill it,
great.
yeah.
Wait, you know.
He's just so hot and cold, you know. It
Yeah,
just
I know,
annoys me because he just comes to
he's-
Premier League and it's like, look, I'm also. It's like, oh no, I can't do it here.
You know, another
Luis,
place.
you want to talk about this massive Pride win before we go?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna look. I was gonna find the video actually. Hold on one second. I'm trying to find the video for the Pride. But yeah, the Pride. Go
one
ahead.
small thing to go back quickly to. I want to shout out to George DeBone, who's on Twitter. He put a post I've just seen about. Does anyone know what happened to Juninho? I last see he played for OCB on the 31st of July, and there's no listing for him on the first team for the OCB roster page. Did his contract age? And I looked on the OCB roster page too. I don't seem to see him there. But I know he might have a long Brazilian name, but I don't see him there either. So I wondered if you know anything about what happened to Juninho. And I was trying to think. He wasn't in the game that I went to go see where he played.
That's
It's
interesting.
a mystery. If anyone, we'll follow up on that, George, and get back to you on where
So he had an interview.
Juninho might have gone.
So he had an interview with for a Brazilian podcast a few days ago, actually, the 18th. What day was the 18th? Was it Friday or Saturday?
Yeah, like 3 days ago.
Yeah. So he was wearing his Orlando outfits and things like that. I don't think he's
Okay, that's just very.
I mean,
strange
he's still part of the.
Yeah, I mean, we've
of
heard
the
no news
squad.
of him leaving or anything,
Yeah.
so I don't know what's
Yeah.
up. He might be on the roster page. He just has a very long four-name
so-
Brazilian name, so we're not. He might be listed under another name here.
Yeah, so Juninho had an interview with Territorial MLS, which I want to say hello. They're one of the biggest MLS outlets in Brazil, and they were talking to him because I think one of the heads there is a Bosco fan. So I know for a fact because we have friends in common. So, but he was in their podcast, so I know for a fact. I mean, this happened 3 days ago. He's still part of the team. So Orlando Pride got a massive win, 5-0. I will say it was one of the most electric packed games I've ever seen in a Pride game since I started covering the Pride about almost 3 years ago. And now I will say that those 4 women that you see up front were definitely made a difference. La Roquette, the Argentinian, the number 7 striker from the Argentinian national team to play the World Cup. A fantastic player, scored under her debut, as well as Rafa scored her first, the center back. She scored her former Man United center back. No, Arsenal. My apologies, Arsenal. I don't apologize to Arsenal, but whatever. Arsenal. Rafa scored a fantastic header of a fantastic ball and assist, and her first goal in the NWSL, also first goal in her career here in the United States. So great. Adriana was still a threat on the right flank, going through the mid. It's kind of like the Facundo Torres, who's trying to set plays up. And then Marta had a phenomenal game. So, I mean, every single player had a huge impact. It was very dynamic. It was very great to see. And it was, I think, the second biggest win in history for the Orlando Pride. 5 goals. I'm so proud of this team. I think Carrie Abello had some chances too. I think Haley McCutcheon was phenomenal. But here's a recognition that the club made to the players that play the the Women's World Cup, which had Spain being
so
crowned.
cool.
Mickey Mouse was there.
No, Luis, we don't talk about that. Don't bring that up.
What do you mean?
It's too fresh. Do not bring up the fact that England lost another final. Ugh.
What? Now, I mean, the reason why you guys are losing finals, I'm going to say this.
No, we're not going there, Luis.
You guys are
too depressing.
You guys are calling up too many Man City players.
Yeah, it's too many Grealishes and Foden. That's
they just
they're not all Man City for the Lionesses. They're mainly Arsenal and Chelsea. It's all the London clubs.
No, that's right. But here we go. Look at that header right there for Rafa. There's no chance
That is a great header.
And I think the U.S. women's national team needs a new keeper because Nair got 5 goals scored on her. And then they got Messiah Brett right there. Look at that. Look at that goal right there. Oh, that's a huge goal.
I gotta say on that one, she ran the whole way, and the defender was like following her, and then she did the classic. I'm gonna cut inside. She stepped there, and then the defender just stands like 2 yards away from her and lets her shoot. Like you gotta, you know what I mean? She had to have a little bit of like press the ball, make it hard. Like she had the time to.
Yeah, Julie Dole was amazing too as a winger. Julie Dole was amazing,
Yeah,
and then when Laro came in, then look at that, boom!
Every goal in this game was a quality goal.
Yeah, they had no chance. Chicago, I felt so bad. Like they were utterly dominated by this Pride team, like completely dominated.
I want to clip Marta's pass for Bright's second goal because she does it with the outside of the foot curler, and then Messiah just pulls it over to the side, rounds the keeper, and slots it away. And it's a beautiful little sequence of the pass and the goal.
Yeah, like right here, like that's the pass, right, that you're talking about.
Yeah, with the outside of the foot.
With the outside of the foot, like this.
Curler, round the center back, right in front of Messiah.
Look at that.
She picks it up perfectly, touches it past the keeper, and then
it's like a track and field play.
This whole game to me, Luis, looked like a FIFA match. Like it looked like somebody was playing and just being like, "Oh, now I cut right and smash it top fins." Like
guilty as charged.
Yeah, this is how I play FIFA. Is how the Pride just beat Chicago.
Yeah, I feel terrible about Chicago. Chicago had no chance.
Chicago got double beat by Orlando, by the way.
By the way,
2 wins at the same time.
I think that's fantastic. I think we're definitely owned Chicago this year. But the Red Stars attempted. And Seb Hines said it on their press conference. This game was about to happen. At some point, it was going to happen that everything was going to click. And he mentioned that this lengthy break really helped, to heal some wounds. And also, the players that won the World Cup, that went to the World Cup, not won the World Cup, that went to the World Cup. I'm like thinking about Spain. Sorry, guys. The women that play the World Cup, they obviously came with, all right, World Cup's done, but I am kind of upset a little bit about it. I kind of want to win. I kind of want to, they came with that fire within, trying to prove something, and they're going to definitely kill it. And I think they got that killer instinct. I mean, they played fantastic. The next game that they have is against San Diego Wave. Alex Morgan is coming back to Orlando. It's on Friday. Alex Morgan. I don't know.
Baby horse.
Well, I mean,
also, Luis, now we're up to 7th on 22 points. The Wave are right above us on 24 points. Above them is the Reign on 24 points. Above them is Washington Spirit on 25 points. Above them is Gotham on 25 points. Above them is North Carolina on 26 points. So this thing is so tight. Like a few wins here, one win gets us up, off the table right now, a few places.
I think it's a game of 6 points.
Yeah, so this is a 6-pointer against San Diego that if we will leapfrog them and maybe even another team if we win. Yeah. So if we can just get a little bit of on a roll here, get 2 or 3 wins under our belts, then there's every chance they can be finishing this season in a very strong place. Maybe then, 3rd or 4th, like the men. That would be nice.
Imagine
that the Pride finished 3rd and Orlando City finished 3rd.
Golly, and then 7, and then Papi in for sure, all the way to Mount Rushmore. I'm telling you,
it's just nice to see the latter end of the season and not have the Pride be way at the bottom of the table, Luis. I mean, that's sad to say that's the expectations are not high for the Pride, and even if they finish 7th and just outside the playoffs. It'll be better than another year where we finished rock bottom. So let's see how far they can push and what a win.
I'm just so proud of the squad. I mean, it looks like it's a whole new. It looks like an actual team, you know.
Rafa was that missing piece in the back.
Rafa wasn't. Yep, yeah. I agree with you. And Haley McCutcheon being back. I mean, Haley was amazing that game.
Yeah,
she was running back.
The subs, like you said, Larroquette coming on, Clough came on, got a great goal.
Clutch.
Like like it's all. We've just got a good squad now.
And then Seb and Giles, like honestly, they boost that team since they got into the Pride. I mean, the changes they've made. I mean, I'm not trying to like kiss their ass or anything like that.
And Haley at the GM level too. Like
not Haley,
things make a big
night
difference.
and day. I mean, I'm telling you, I've covered the team. That whole debacle with a former coach and stuff. I've been through that, and I'm telling you, with all that star-studded squad they had, nilch, zero, right? With this team, you got young, exciting players like Julie Dole, like Carrie Bello, like Messiah Bright, you know, which she did a messianic goal.
Messiah Bright she's just like a cheat code in this
which they call her Messi, by the way.
It's ridiculous.
They call her Messi.
And she, by the way, Louise, she missed 2 or 3 more than she could have had. Like, not being funny, but if she learns to be a bit more clinical, like that first goal she scored, she could score every goal like that. She just needs to perfect her finishing, and she needs to make the right decision. Sometimes she'll go and she'll get like all the way into the box, and then she doesn't quite know what to do. Bit like Angulo does, right? She runs with her head down sometimes. But like that time she picked her head up. When she makes the right decision, she's unplayable at sometimes in this league.
And not only that, but you know, she could make a run, and I'm going to mention this, and I think she should. She could make a run for a Golden Boot for NWSL. And I'm going to say this, UN's women's national team, you guys definitely want to win the next World Cup. You guys definitely want to, you know, not choke like they did in the last World Cup. Call up Messiah Bright. She's definitely your 9. I mean,
call her up now, and 4 years from now, she'll be an absolute killer in the World Cup.
She'll definitely be playing like in a different club. Like she'll play in Europe. And not only that, I'm gonna say, what happened to Ashley Hatch? Why? I mean, look where Ashley Hatch is, and she was never even called up to the national team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have Sophia Smith with 11 goals. She's a top goal scorer. Then you have Ashley Hatch from Washington Spirit with 8. You know, then you have Carolyn from North Carolina Courage with 8, and then you have Messiah Bright with 6. She's like 1 goal away. She's gonna be right top 3, top 4.
She's chasing.
She's chasing. I think she should chase the Golden Boot. I think I'm quite. You know, she's such a great player. I believe that if the Pride keep winning or she keeps scoring, I think it's all gonna fall into place.
They just need to feed her as well. I find there's not enough crossing, in my opinion, for the size that Messiah is. I don't think it's really how Seb wants to play, but I feel like, you know, we put in some good balls into the box for her. She's a good foot taller than most defenders she comes up against. So hopefully, you know, she can really kick on and have a great season.
For sure. And I wanted to go ahead and thank everyone that has been live with us today. Jeffrey O, hey everyone, we're ready to let Papi go. Sorry. Sorry to laugh, guy, you know, Jeffrey, but you know, I just think it's hilarious. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's a very real possibility that people who were calling for Pappy's head at the beginning of the season might end up being sad if he leaves because we didn't renew his contract or whatever, right? It's funny, but everybody's happy when we're winning, Luis. Like, that's all good.
Everyone forgets about what happened. Everyone is gonna forget about the whole Papi out thing.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Now it's gonna be Pappy in because we want him to stay in.
That's right.
Or Pappy renew. We need a new phrase for the renewal.
We're gonna get some t-shirts for that.
Oscar back in.
Back in.
There you go.
There you go. M.O. Maybe he was in Brazil getting his green card. What? Juninho? No,
I
he's
think
too,
that was a reference to
it's too
Juninho.
it's too soon for a green card. You gotta be in the country for like over 2 years to
Yeah,
I think 2 or 3 years. Yeah. So
I
like
would love
Pedro
to
for
see him getting
Pedro,
some
for
more first team
example,
minutes, man.
like Pedro could get into green card like right now. I think he'll be eligible either this year or the next year. So, I think he's the only one right now. But anything else you want to add before we go, John?
No, buddy. I mean, I'm excited for Saturday's game. Feels like it's been forever since we've had a home game.
I know. It's gonna be.
It'll be nice to have a bit of Saturday night, 7:30 action.
And then the Pride,
it'll be a really tough match. So
the Pride play on Friday. So everyone that wants to go on Saturday, make sure you buy your tickets to see the Pride on Friday. Double header. There's bars around town. You can go to Pine Street. You can drink a couple of drinks. You know what I mean? Get a cholo dog right from the stands right there. Concessions. But I'll be honest. I think it's gonna be 2 huge games for Orlando. Orlando becomes strong at home against a tough team like St. Louis, setting a good precedent to get really ready for what's coming away, and then Orlando Pride probably getting 4th place in the league.
Last thing before we go, Luis, is the predictions for
okay.
We predict both. How about that? We'll give Orlando Pride prediction this week.
So to me, the Orlando Pride San Diego game will end 3-0 Orlando.
Ooh.
Alex Morgan misses a PK.
Lol.
There you go. And then the Orlando
2-1 the Pride. I think it'll be tougher.
Yeah. And for Orlando City, I'm going for 1-0 win Orlando. 80th minute.
Ooh. I think it's another 3-1.
Oh man. Okay.
I think we love it. We love a 3-1.
Yeah, we love the 3-1.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. Every time we win, it's 3-1 at the moment.
I agree.
So I think 3-1 with we're due a Duncan goal. We're due a Duncan goal and another Facu goal because he's gonna keep rolling.
And he's doing the flip. He's in the flip.
And maybe a Dagger Dan goal. Don't get me really excited, but maybe.
You're gonna go
another one.
Your Dagger Dan jersey.
Another one.
There you go. Another one. Thank you guys for all your support. I want to encourage everyone to certainly subscribe to our channel. We're available on Facebook as LP_podcast. We're also on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Click on the notification bell for all notifications. Thank you so much for your support as well. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. Make sure you check us out on our social media accounts. Keep subscribing. We're 657 subscribers. We're close to 700. Let's keep that rolling. And without anything else, let's have a great weekend. And vamos Orlando, guys. Take care.
Vamos Orlando.
See you guys. Have a good one.